Each and every one of you should have a notebook and pen in front of you. The first half of it is going to be history of Maker's Mark and some wood science, pretty much what we've covered during the last hour and a half. Starting on page 25, we have optimized it for note-taking. So on page 25, you are going to write your thoughts on this cask strength, the CS glass. This actually is what you pulled out of the barrel down there in warehouse A. So this is our base product. After you drink it, I need you to tell me what you like about it, but also how it could be better for you, how this could be transformed into your perfect version of Makers. Maybe you'll try this and you'll say, Hannah, I want it to be a little bit sweeter. Maybe you want more baking spices, longer finish, whatever it is. This kind of starts our discussion for what you all are looking to create today. So, cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
This is really special. It's actually the only true single barrel Makers you'll probably ever try in your life, unless you come back here and do another barrel.
For me, just looking for more, maybe brown sugar, a little more vanilla, caramel, but not really taking away from what you have here, just kind of adding to it.
Enhancing. That's exactly what the staves do. Yeah, they enhance different flavors.
A lot of the alcohol up front. Right.
Okay, so kind of a lot of ethanol.
Yeah. Personally, it was a smoother finish as it kind of dissipated through your mouth. I too would like a little bit more, maybe the sweeter to come through to enhance the flavor.
Yeah, it's got a really slow burn. I know that on the back end. I think I like to taste a little bit more of the oakiness brought out to it. Maybe the sweetness too, I think.
What we're about to start tasting are pure stave samples. We're gonna start with P2, work our way over to the SP stave. P2 is the only American oak stave in the program. It truly stands for Baked American Pure 2. We only have one American oak stave because the barrels are already American oak, so we don't expect to enhance that many additional flavors out of it. This stave was baked in a convection oven for almost an entire day. I would say the number one question I get asked in this room is how we're able to enhance different flavors out of a piece of wood. The next four we're tasting, for example, they're all French oak, all from the Vosges forest, which is a very specific region in the northeast corner of France, but they taste wildly different.
The P2 was woody and oaky, and oddly enough, I said it tastes like the smell of the rick house, so kind of like that musty old wood smell taste.
I just thought it tasted like sweet oak, increase the tannin a little, and it was pleasant, and I could see this definitely being a stave we'd want to consider.
I do hear vanilla, honey, those kind of sweet notes about P2. It's very light, bright, sweet, kind of oaky. So cuvee, we've moved on to our first French oak stave. You're going to notice that the mountains or peaks on the stave are really, really dark and toasted, while the valleys stay more raw. Cuvée is actually French for blend, so you get an interesting blend of texture and flavor that comes from the cook differentiation. You guys go ahead, taste the Cuvée stave, and then let me know what you think of it.
Spicy, nutty, and a little bit of honey. Kind of agreed with you there. The texture and finish was prolonged, and I think that's definitely a positive.
We'll move on to 46. This is really the backbone of the program, how everything got started. It's also the only stave that was designed to be a standalone product. I find it the most well-rounded, complex, and that really is what it brings to combinations, a complexity that people are often looking for.
It's vanilla and sweet on the nose. The flavor's real. It's sweet, but it's balanced. I didn't get very hot at all on the taste, and then as far as the finish, it's super smooth, it's super quick. It's not lingering at all.
Similar notes to the QA, but the finish didn't last quite as long, and then it just seemed a little more balanced to me.
So Mondiant was released in February of 21. It does that same rich flavor camp, just in a different way.
It's definitely sweeter. I definitely taste the brown sugar in that one, but I definitely smell chocolate.
Yeah, very chocolatey, brown sugar.
This is yummy. This one's yummy.
The final stave is called Spice. Another French oak stave. This one's also a convection oven cooked. This one's cooked at high and then low temperatures in a convection oven. Before you taste it, I always tell everyone to keep an open mind. I think spice can be a very leading flavor descriptor. If I don't say that, I find that my groups, they'll taste it and they'll be like, oh wow, this is really spicy. And there for sure are baking spices in there, but there's so much more to this stave than just that. So make sure you form your own opinions.
I think this is my favorite palette of the 5 we've tried so far. I'd just say like the rich tobacco. I'd say like dark, like dried fruit notes, and it's just very pleasant.
It's complex. Like there's so much going on. Yeah. I mean, these last two
Probably where it's at for y'all.
yeah, like,
Go heavy on the Mondial and
much going
spice
on.
stave.
and I would have never thought that going in.
I think that combinations that are dominated by Mondial and spice, they do make very good like winter fall combinations. And if you shift over to the left side of board, this would be more of like your spring and summer. But I mean that's just from a 1,000-foot view, not always. So this is where this is where the hard work starts. Yeah. So I call these blending boards, okay? There's very few rules in the private select program, but the one rule is you have to use 10 staves in your barrel, okay? That's the perfect amount of flavor enhancement for a 53-gallon barrel. You'll notice there's 10 slots on here. I'm gonna build out your stave combination using these poker chips. And then I will mix up that specific combination using the pear stave samples on the back bar. We will taste it. That gives you a real life snapshot in time of what your barrel will taste like after 9 weeks in the cellar. We'll talk about it and you'll say, wow, I like this, but we need more whatever it is, maybe more oak or brown sugar or whatever it is. And then we'll start discussing some changes we can make to the combination to get to your perfect version, exactly what you're looking for.
It seemed like 4 and 5 for a lot of us might be, or at least for me, my 2 particular favorites. But I could see, the first and second kind of working their way in there just to add between mouthfeel and a little bit of sweetness.
I think the fourth one, the Mondrian, is one of my favorites. I love the chocolate notes in that, but adding in a little bit of the fifth one, that spice, would really accentuate that sweetness, but not making it overly sweet. And then adding a little bit of that P2 with that oakiness.
I'm with you both on 4 and 5. I would sprinkle in 46, number 3. Those were my 3 favorites out of everything. Although I love the nose on P2.
I think you could do this all day and just try the different combinations. They do seem to play well with each other. But yeah, I mean, we all seem to like 4 and 5. I really like throwing the P2 in there. But yeah, the 46 kind of plays well with everything, right? But I wouldn't do a lot of it. Like I think if you want to throw one in there, I guess we could. But it seems like what is it? The
Mondial.
The Mondial,
Yeah.
was the one that's everybody liked.
Oh no, you're all wrong. No, I'm in agreement. 4 and 5 definitely shown through the most. And then I would have to say my pick would be for 1 and 3 to accompany it and stuff. So
Your combination is going to be 2 P2, 0 cuvee, 146, 4 Mondial, and 3 spice.
I think the spice kind of comes to the forefront here and maybe overwhelms everything a little bit. So maybe we look at toning that back. But overall, it was a good mouthfeel, and I think a step in the right direction for what I'd like to go. But maybe that was a little too forward for me.
This was nice. I liked it. I do agree.
I don't always necessarily recommend that we remove a spice stave. Sometimes I think the 46 and the Spice Dave can play off of each other. You guys were talking about the order. Also, the color of the rings is really telling. You see 46 is orange, Spice is red. When you put those together, it almost makes like fire. So sometimes if people are like, that's too hot, I recommend taking out the 46 Dave and just seeing if that fixes the problem before we head straight to Spice.
Let's remove 46. Let's add the cuvee
And we'll just see what that does.
and see what it does.
If it's still too hot, then obviously Spice would be the next
Sure.
easiest target for us, but I imagine this will tone it down quite a bit.
I think that's really
Wow. That's very good. It lingers. It's hit every note that we've talked about.
I think it's a little hot.
It smells
It's a little
fantastic.
sweet on the tongue. I think it's got a great finish.
No, I think it's what we're trying to hit on. It's definitely got the spiciness, but it's not too spicy. It's got a nice little sweetness. Removing the 46 and adding the cuvee, I think it did what we were looking for.
Step in the right direction. Yeah, that's
not
awesome.
removing the spiciness of that stave, and yeah, it's amazing.
I couldn't agree more on that. I think it was definitely the step we wanted to take, and honestly, like at this point, then for me, I think this is ideal. The only reason why I would want to see a third blend is just to see if we can maybe make it a little bit better. But I'm personally very happy with how this turned out, and I think it's great.
I like it. I think I would love to see less spice, even though I enjoyed the spice. It's just like spice. But there's no burn for me. Like it really is.
Yeah.
It really is pretty tasty.
So we're gonna do 3 P2, 1 cuvee, 5 Mondiant, 1 Spice.
I feel like we're changing it up way too much, though. It's like
You probably won't recognize the combination. It's gonna be probably night and day different, but that's not always a bad thing, right?
No, for me.
I think this did exactly what I expected it to, but doesn't necessarily. I don't enjoy it as much as 2 personally, but very pleasant. Nothing wrong with it.
I definitely think this one got a little too sweet for my liking. Removing the spiciness did what we were trying not to do, making it too sweet, I think. Yeah, I like definitely number 2 better than this one. It was a good comparison. I'm glad we did what we did.
It burns more than the others for me. Don't know why, but it does. I enjoy 2 the most.
I feel like you really like this 4-3 combination, the 4 Mondiant, 3 Spice, so potentially like we could take the second P2 and put it towards cuvee.
Sure. I would love to change 1 and just see.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, let's do the
Swap,
remove
P2.
1 P2 first.
Okay.
I feel like 4 is much more one note, where I notice a lot more like things going on in 2. And I don't think one's wrong and one's right. I just think that's how the staves are playing together.
At first, when I had 4, it was like it came through as a little harsher, a little hotter, and I didn't like it. But now taking it a second time after kind of clearing my palate and drinking the 2, I don't know. It's close between 2 and 4. I kind of agree with Chef Allen. I think 2. I just like the term. I think it's a lot more drinkable from a neat standpoint.
I really like 4. I'm leaning to 2 because I do like the various notes. I like the little bit of sweetness that's coming through. And just thinking of neat or cocktail, I think that plays well for both. For neat, if we were thinking of just pouring this neat, I think it's 4 all day. But I'm leaning heavily to 2.
Now that I tasted 4, I think I like 2 better. I think I appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I'm really torn between 2 and 4. I do really enjoy the oakier notes in number 2, which you don't get pretty much any of that in the number 4. And I always tend to go for like that oaky vanilla flavor. I agree with Jimmy. If you're going neat, 4 is the way to go. Just it's an easy drinking bourbon. Agree that 2 would also make a good mixed cocktail. It's hard. I'm really torn between the 2.
It's number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Ultimately, I think we need to go with number 2.
Number 2.
It looks like number 2 is the winner. Yeah. Y'all picked your first barrel. That's so exciting.